Hi guys, it's Anna and welcome to another episode of my cooking adventures. In today's episode, I'll only be making and eating Korean food for 24 hours. I honestly love Korean food. Every time I go out to eat out with friends or my boyfriend, we always opt out for Korean. It's just that hearty soul food that I'm really looking for in this cold weather in Sydney. I actually got inspired to film this episode because of Inga. She does a lot of these 24-hour cooking challenges and she does like a lot of food like Korean, Indian, Italian, and so I wanted to replicate something similar but with my own twist to it. It is 9 AM right now and I'm feeling like something that's going to fill me up a bit more. And back then when I visited Seoul for a holiday, I noticed that a lot of restaurants and shops are actually closed in the morning. So if you wanted to buy breakfast, you actually had to go to like a 7-Eleven or like a nearby convenience store. And usually at these Korean convenience stores, you'll find like aisles of freshly made food. There'll be like triangle kimbap, maybe some sandwiches, there's banana milk, there's instant noodles, there's just all sorts of delicious food at these Korean convenience stores. But from my experience, I actually really enjoyed eating kimbap for breakfast. So for breakfast, I'll be making myself a kimbap. Kimbap is like a Korean version of sushi and you can have different toppings inside. Some of the most iconic ones that I know of is like either ham or tuna, yellow pickled radish, spinach, carrots, and egg as well. And I'm really excited to recreate this. I'm not going to make the triangle kimbaps because I actually don't know how to make that and I think that'll be quite a challenge. So just to save myself some time and work, I'll just be doing quite the, those normal round kimbaps. And just a disclaimer before I jump right into cooking, I'm just going to use whatever ingredients I have in my fridge that are available. And for example, if I don't have an item that's exactly used in the traditional recipe, I'm just going to substitute it for something that I have. Because I live in Sydney in Australia and actually there is a lockdown happening right now, so I don't want to risk going out to buy just a few ingredients. So I guess you can say this is like Anna's take on Korean food. I'm actually starving, so let's get cooking. So I'm going to start off by cooking the rice for the kimbap. Uncle Roger would be really proud of me because I'm actually using a rice cooker. I'm going to measure out 1.5 cups of rice, and guys, don't forget to wash your rice, seriously. Next, I'm going to prepare some leg ham. This is ham off the bone and honestly it's super delicious. I'm also going to fry up an egg pancake looking thing. So here I'm just using 2 eggs. I pan fried these eggs in a pancake form. Now I'm going to fry up the ham as well. So in a traditional kimbap, I know that they use spinach, however I didn't have any at home, so I used some leftover bok choy. It really helps to add in some pop of green and colour in the kimbap. I'm only using the leaves from the bok choy for this recipe. The egg pancake turned out so perfect, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. So I'm just going to cut it into strips. Now let's season the rice. I'm going to add some salt and some sesame oil. And it honestly smells so fragrant already. So now, the fun part, I'm going to assemble the kimbap. The shiny side of the seaweed will be facing down. I'm going to start off by adding some rice, covering around 3/4 of the whole seaweed. I'm literally just adding all the ingredients we just cooked, and I'm also going to add some pickled carrots that I made previously and some yellow pickled radish that I previously bought as well. I brushed some sesame oil on the top to give it a beautiful shine. And here we have some delicious and beautiful kimbaps. Alright, so here we have kimbap for breakfast. I am super excited to dig into this. Wow, there's just so many elements going on in this kimbap. We've got the salty ham, we have the yellow pickled kind of sour radish. We also have a bit of pickled carrots that I made previously. And instead of spinach, I substituted it with bok choy because that's all I had in my fridge. Very well balanced. You've got veggies, you've got protein, you've got carbs, and it all fits into one bite. And it's super convenient to have if you're like on the go. But for me, this is delicious.
So it's lunchtime now and I'm kind of feeling like noodles. So I'm going to be whipping up some japchae noodles, and it's pretty much just mixed vegetables with glass noodles. To start, I'm going to chop my veggies. I'm using capsicum, which gives the dish a very bright and vibrant color, and I'm also using the stems of the bok choy from the kimbap recipe from this morning. I'm also chopping the egg pancake we made earlier into thinner strips. I don't have brown onion for this recipe, so I'm just going to substitute it for red onions that I have at home. I'm going to stir fry those veggies together, but I think it tastes better and it's more traditional if you stir fry and season each one separately, but I just kind of got lazy. Now I'm going to make the basic japchae sauce, so add in some soy sauce, sesame oil, black pepper, brown sugar, garlic powder, and I'm using garlic powder because I didn't have any fresh garlic on hand, and mix well. The noodles I'll be using are Korean vermicelli noodles. They look like this. Boil those noodles until they're soft. For my choice of protein, I'm going with some fatty leftover hot pot beef that I have in my freezer. I'm going to sear that up and hopefully melt some of the fat away as well. Now it's time to assemble our easy japchae. I'm going to mix everything together with the sauce we made earlier. I'm also wearing gloves to mix them, and honestly, I feel so Korean doing this. It's so fun. And there we have it, a bowl of delicious japchae noodles that were easy to whip up.
Alright, let's dig in. I'm starving. Big bites, ASMR. Wow. I love how the vegetables have a crunch to them and they taste super fresh and light, contrasted with, you know, the fatty beef that I have, which gives it more flavor and oomph to the dish. And then I love noodles, like I could eat noodles all day. So I really like how the noodles have soaked up all that flavor and the sauce that we made as well. Honestly, I feel like this dish was so easy to whip up. You literally just cook everything and mix it all together. Well, at least that's like my shortcut method. But you know, you end up producing something that tastes so damn good. Wow. So now I'm just gonna go and enjoy this bowl of delicious japchae noodles, and I'll see you guys at dinner. Alright guys, it is now almost dinner time, so I need to get started with cooking. Right now it is super cold in Sydney, so I'm looking for something that's warm and hearty and soupy that will, like, you know, warm me up from inside. So I did a bit of digging on YouTube for some like Korean soups, and one that I came across is army stew, or called budae-jjigae. I think the reason for the name army stew is because people back then who fought in the war, they would eat this stew because it's like a lot of preserved meats. There's beans, there's spam, there's sausage, there's kimchi. So I'll be making my version of it today. It's more like a cheap version. It's gonna be like my version of what I have in my pantry. So yeah, let's go whip up some budae-jjigae.
Okay, so let's chop up the meat. I'm using sausages and spam, my favorite guilty pleasure. For the stew base, I'm using gochujang, which is in like most Korean recipes, Korean hot pepper flakes, mirin, soy sauce, garlic powder, sugar, and black pepper. This recipe is honestly so easy to do. I'm just going to assemble all the ingredients in my pan in a pretty way. We've got spam, sausages, tofu, baked beans, frozen Korean rice cakes, kimchi, and half of an instant noodle. Add in the stew base we made, and I'm kind of cheating the recipe here by using chicken stock. I think traditionally they use like anchovies and kelp. This is honestly looking so mouth-watering and hearty. Perfect for a winter night.
Alright, for dinner we are having budae-jjigae, which is Korean army stew. I'm so excited because it looks absolutely amazing, and we also got takeaway. And yeah, I didn't make it, but it's also Korean. It is the Korean barbecue gopchang, which is like intestines. I know it sounds a bit off-putting, but for those of you who are actually familiar with that dish, you'll know it tastes so good. Got myself some rice. Gonna dip it in the stew. Let's get a sausage as well. It's full of flavor. It's like spicy kimchi stew, but better. Also have a piece of spam, because I love spam. The spam's good.
It's always good.
Spam with kimchi is amazing. Want a bit of tofu as well. Also have a side of Korean yellow pickled radish. It's a really good like palate cleanser. Alright, I'm gonna try this gopchang.
It's chewy.
That intestine dish is like so chewy, a bit spicy, full of flavor, fatty as well. Yum! I can't believe I've been having Korean food literally all day. It's crazy. Alright guys, it's been a whole day of cooking for me. I'm exhausted. I feel like I've cooked way too much and I don't want to cook for the next few days. But I really enjoyed whipping up all these Korean recipes, some of which I haven't really done before. I also like the fact that I didn't have to go out of my way to the grocery shop to whip up these recipes. Like I literally just used what's in my fridge, what's in my pantry, and whipped up my version of these Korean dishes. Given the whole pandemic situation right now, it's important to make sure that you avoid going out as much as possible, especially if you're in like a lockdown situation. So I'm glad that these Korean recipes were very accessible for me and it was easier to make than expected. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of me only making Korean food for 24 hours. If you guys have any suggestions on the next cuisine that I should tackle, then let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed watching it, and also subscribe to my channel for more lifestyle/food related content. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!